What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Notorimon. Today we're going to be talking about shadow versus shadowless cards. Can you tell the difference if this is a shadow or a shadowless card? Today we're going to be adding some on-screen pictures for you guys to see the difference between a shadow and a shadowless card. For some history, shadowless cards was the first US print run done by Wizards of the Coast in the very first run of Pokemon in the US for the base set series. For starters, what we're going to be looking at on the card today, we're going to be using the example of the shadowless Charizard versus the shadowed Charizard. To identify if your card is shadowless, there's a few key factors that we're going to be looking at. The dead giveaway that a card is shadowless is on the right hand side of the card. We'll use the left side as the, I'm gonna just say it right now, the left side we'll use as the shadowless example, and then the right side we'll use as the shadowed example, like on like a side-by-side comparison. Yeah. So if you look over on the left side example on screen, on the right side next to the Charizard, you will see that there is no shadow on that side. That is why it is called shadowless. Think of it as a rough draft done by Wizards of the Coast for the first US print run of Pokemon. As time went on, they finalized the design and ended up adding a shadow effect to give the card more of a 3D depth to it. Now, if you look over on the right side, on the on-screen display, you're going to see a shadow effect on the right side of the Charizard. That is the dead giveaway that a card is a shadowless versus a shadowed. The next example we're going to be looking at is going to be down at the very, very bottom. This might be hard to catch if you're looking at a card from afar. But on the left side example, you will see it shows 1995, 96, 98, and 99. That was only done for shadowless print runs. On the right hand side, if you look over at the very bottom of the card, you will see in order 1995, 1996, and 98. So that is going to also be a key factor when determining if a card is shadow or shadowless. The next example that you will see on a card where it shows the attack, you will see that the energies will be more aligned on the top side, right next to the text, whereas on the shadowed version, they centered it more and made it look more pretty. Another key factor you can look at is going to be for the hit points or the HP in the top right corner. On the left side on-screen example, you will see that the 120 HP on the Charizard looks a lot more small and fine, whereas the Shadow Charizard on the right hand side on the on-screen display shows it a little bit more bold and more crispy. On the left hand side on the on-screen example, we are looking at a PSA 10 value for the base set Shadowless Charizard, and a PSA 10 is going for 15,000, close to 16,000 in a PSA 10, which is just absolutely insane for such an old card. You might want to check in your OG collection if you still have any of your old cards as a kid, and see if you can identify any shadowless versus shadow cards if you still have any base set cards in your collection from when you were a kid. On the right hand side, we're going to be looking at a shadowed base set Charizard and a PSA 10 and even 10,000, so that is a $5,000 to $6,000 difference in terms of value for this specific card. For the most part, I would say that all shadowless cards are of significant value than a shadowed base set card. So the reason why shadowless cards are so much more valuable, if you look at historically the values between a shadowed base set Charizard versus a shadowless base set Charizard, there's something to the fact that there's an error with something or something wasn't fine-tuned. Just for collectors, no matter if it's Pokemon or any other type of collecting, when there's those rough drafts or those human imperfection, we as collectors seem to cling to those sorts of things. Values of cards are very subjective. It's always what a person is willing to pay. But when it comes to shadow versus shadowless cards, I would attribute it to the fact that it is the very first print run of Pokemon in the US for the shadowless. As to why that would be something of significant value. When something is the first of the first and it was done with a limited supply run, that typically means that a value is going to trend upward significantly versus a shadowed run where they release more and they print more and release more into the US for people to consume, and they add different effects to it. So having something that is the original, the very first, I would attribute that to mean more value in the Pokemon scene. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Notorimon, and make sure you guys spread love and positivity.